Of Imam Muhammad. He asked several questions in his talk right here, but I want us to understand with the way he answered his question. He said they have to, and then he corrected. He said, no, we have to study this again. He says that you have to study the development of the schools of law. He says we have to. He says they were developed in a contemporaneous time, meaning that they're all evolving and reacting and responding to that time that they were in.
That's right.
He said they had more in common then than now. What did they have in common then that they don't have in common now? These are the questions that we should be asking. The theme, he says that we should also tell them that they should reread and study it again in light of these changes that we are facing on this earth. This is the pastoral methodology that I'm about to explain, that Imam Muhammad looks at us in the American context as a new people. He respects science. This is what he just said. He says, we don't think like white people. We don't think like the Arabs. We think like us. And so, therefore, we should understand what that thinking is. How do we think for us? How do we care and show compassion for us? I was researching, following my Imam's direction, and I found Imam Sheikh Abdullah bin Bayah. He gave a lecture in 1999 in California. And in his lecture, he was talking about Muslims living in non-Muslim lands. And in this lecture, he said the following. He said, one of the disasters of this, what you have here in America, is that you find yourselves here, is that Muslims making hijrah to these lands from Muslim worlds, bringing their baggage along with them. So they are bringing all of their problems with them, and they have nothing to do with the new circumstances that they find themselves in.
Right.
Furthermore, the challenges that they have in these new circumstances are so great that these problems that they are opening up are causing all kinds of trouble for them.
That's right.
So when somebody gives an echo to what the Imam is saying, I listen to what that man has to say.
That's right.
That sounds like he says basically you're a new people here. You have new circumstances here. You have to look at this anew here. And so I'm now going to get into the meaning of the term of this conference from the Quranic perspective, from the pastoral Quranic perspective. The term that is used for this conference is called what? Uswa. It's used in the Quran in two places. It's used in reference to the story of the struggle of Abraham and his people. And it says, take Abraham and his people as a model in their struggle. Uswa is also a model to be taken of a people and a prophetic messenger on how they survived and evolved in a struggle. The next ayat uses a term. The term is called what again?
Uswa.
The next ayat that's used is when it refers to the Prophet Muhammad as being the best right model. In the ayat, in the context, is about his struggle. And him being a model of pastoral concern or care in his time of struggle. So Uswa in the Quranic context is all about how to survive in a land and a time of struggle. And so Imam Muhammad has taught us how to survive in the land and time of struggle. He has spoken to us as new people. He has dealt with us as new people. And let's look at a glimpse of this new American people. what is unique about us is that we have both male and female that are sitting in the masjid able to be seen and heard. And some people don't like that. What is unique and new about the American people is that we care and we have just as much care and concern about our males as our females. As if the Quran doesn't have that male and female refrain. We have forgot about the pastoral care for the female. I'm going to give you a case study. I'm a chaplain, so I'm going to come from my expertise. Go ahead. If you don't mind.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Y'all have patience with me a little bit. So on my case study, when I was studying my master's thesis, I was like, what is my people suffering? So I'm working in this prison complex, and I'm noticing that the men are being given care. They have an imam who comes in and gives a khutbah, a sermon, and all these things, but the Muslim women do not have it. And it bothered me. Because I know I'm from Imam Muhammad's community, and there's women that attend our masjids on a regular. Right. And they run the boards. If they wasn't here, the place would fall down. And so why, when they're locked up, do we forget about their souls? As if their souls are not to be cared for. Equal to on the level that's done in this masjid. And so I pondered it, and I looked, and I found this interesting hadith. There is a hadith by one of the most strongest Muslims, the second Khalifa to follow the Prophet Muhammad, whose name was what? Umar, his son, approached the wife of, he approached his mother, and he said, "Ma, why do you make my father mad? You know he's extremely jealous. Why do you always attend the congregational worship? You know how my father is jealous." And this at the time when he was the ruler. She turned to him and said, "What stops him from stopping me?" You know what I'm saying? She has some swag in that.
With the head rocking, that's right.
You ain't no fool. Your father is 6'6". Satan walk on the other side of the street. What stops him from stopping me? He put his head down. He says the words of Prophet Muhammad is what stops him. He says, do not prohibit Allah's women from congregational worship.
Allahu Akbar.
That's what stops him.
That's right.
Oh, when I read that, it was on and popping. I'm ready. I'm ready to fight this. And so when I had the opportunity, Yale Law School came to me and approached me, hey, there's an opportunity to serve Muslim women in prison. But no imam is going to take this position. We already been asking for 7 years. Wow. Will you take it? Oh, I'll take that. But the Muslim community is not they're saying that it's not obligatory on them to have Jumu'ah. I said, but it's obligatory on me not to prohibit them from having Jumu'ah.
There you go.
It's about perspective.
Yes, sir.
That's right.
It's about understanding that we are a new people.
Yeah. Right.
It's about understanding that we have to, what we're doing here in our homes, we should bring out to everywhere out there also.
That's right.
Not just speak and talk the talk and not walk the walk.
Yeah.
And so, for 2 years, I served the Muslim women in the federal prison. Teaching them that their souls are just as much as a concern as the male soul. And we have to, and this is the pastoral methodology of Imam Muhammad, that our voice, our expression of Islam is needed in this day and time. It's needed in this day and time. Don't just get lost in the sauce of or whatever tastes good and feels good for you. But look at your society and how you can improve it. Look at what voice and message that you can bring to wherever environment that Allah has placed you in. Because you're going to be held responsible. Believe it. You're going to be held you're going to be held responsible for carrying on the message of Imam Muhammad and his pastoral care. And this is his methodology. And it's not different. We don't have a different, it is in our law schools. It is in our law schools. It is khilaf, the fiqh of khilaf. It is expensive. That that there can be valid and substantial difference of opinion, and they're all valid. And we have to be comfortable. We have to be comfortable within our skins to know that, and to speak that, and to express that. Like Imam Muhammad was in this academic setting, and he spoke it, and he expressed it, and he called it what it was.
That's right.
And I'm only here to tell you to listen to his words and follow them. Assalamu alaikum.
Allah Akbar.